My husband John and I spend a lot of time thinking and creating visions of different futures in our studio, those murmurs of future potential. Then we trace those threads of potential out into the future, asking, what might it feel like to live in this future? What might we see, hear, and even breathe?
Beyond Hope, designing future experiences for a conscious present. The practice of exploring multiple possible futures, as described, focuses on the powerful influence that visualizing these scenarios can have on the present. Rather than simply predicting the future, it is an imaginative immersion in diverse possibilities, identifying the weak signals of the present that could germinate into future realities. By mapping these cues and constructing experiential narratives of those worlds to come, it seeks to make abstractions of the future tangible and relevant to the decisions we make today.
But this work is not about predictions. It's about creating tools that can help connect our present and our future selves, so we become active participants in creating a future we want, a future that works for all. So how do we go about doing this? For a recent project called Drone Avery, we were interested in exploring what it would mean to live with drones in our cities. Drones that have the power to see things we can't, to go places we can't, and to do so with increasing autonomy. But to understand the technology, getting our hands dirty was crucial. Things came loose, GPS signals glitched, and drones crashed. Let's imagine we are living in a city with drones like this one. It patrols the streets, often spotted in the evenings and at nights. See how it constantly logs every resident of our neighborhood, logging the kids who play football in the no-ball game area and marking them as statutory nuisances. And then see how it disperses this other group who are teenagers with the threat of an autonomously issued injunction.
The key to this influence lies in the ability of visualization to overcome the psychological distance we often feel from the future. Problems such as climate change or food insecurity may seem distant and therefore less urgent. However, bringing evidence of the future into the present, whether conceptual objects such as synthetic bees or genetically rich machines, allows people to experience more directly the possible consequences of current trends.
In creating this future, we learned a lot. Not just about how these machines work, but what it would feel like to live alongside them. Whilst drones like Madison and Night Watchman in these particular forms are not real yet, most elements of our drone future are in fact very real today. For instance, facial recognition systems are everywhere, in our phones, even in our thermostats and in cameras around our cities, keeping a record of everything we do, whether it's an advertisement we glanced at or a protest we attended. These things are here, and we often don't understand how they work and what their consequences could be.
This immersion, while imaginary, has the potential to generate a more visceral and emotional understanding of what is at stake.
And we see this all around us, this difficulty in even imagining how the consequences of our actions today will affect our future.
By experiencing these futures in an anticipatory way, it fosters greater awareness of the paths we are collectively taking.
Last year, where I live in the UK, there was a referendum where the people could vote for UK to leave the EU or stay in the EU, popularly known as Brexit. And soon after the results came out, a word began to surface, called regret, describing people who chose to vote for Brexit as a protest, but without thinking through its potential consequences. And this disconnect is evident in some of the simplest things.
Visualization is not limited to negative scenarios. It also explores optimistic and desirable futures. This contrast between possible negative consequences and positive opportunities can be a powerful driver for action. By making futures more concrete, it invites reflection on what kind of future we want to build and what actions we need to take in the present to achieve it.
Earlier this year, the government of the United Arab Emirates invited us to help them shape their country's energy strategy all the way up to 2050. Based on the government's econometric data, we created this large city model and visualized many possible futures on it. One of the participants told me, "I cannot imagine that in the future people will stop driving cars and start using public transport." And then he said, "There's no way I can tell my own son to stop driving his car." But we were prepared for this reaction. Working with scientists in a chemistry lab in my home city in India, we had created approximate samples of what the air would be like in 2030 if our behavior stays the same. And so, I walked the group over to this object that emits vapor from those air samples. Just one whiff of the noxious polluted air from 2030 brought home the point that no amount of data can. This is not the future you would want your children to inherit. The next day, the government made a big announcement. They would be investing billions of dollars in renewables.
The methodology of bringing evidence of the future acts as a catalyst for imagination. When confronted with futuristic objects and concepts, people are forced to consider new possibilities and question current assumptions. This expansion of imagination is crucial to innovation and the search for solutions to present challenges. By envisioning alternative futures, new perspectives are opened up, and paths of action can be identified that might otherwise go unnoticed.
While something like air from the future is very effective and tangible, the trajectory from our present to a future consequence is not always so linear. Earlier, we brought back air from the future. This time, we are bringing an entire room from the future, a room from our hope, tools, and tactics to create positive action in hostile conditions. Spending time in this room, a room that could be our own future home, makes the consequences of climate change and food insecurity much more immediate and tangible.
Ultimately, the goal of this exploration of the future is to transcend mere contemplation and generate a tangible impact on the present. By making future consequences more immediate and stimulating imagination about desirable alternatives, it seeks to empower people to make more informed and proactive decisions. Visualizing the future thus becomes a powerful tool for present agency, driving concrete actions that allow us to move toward a future we really want to build.
Today, it can feel like things are happening too fast. So fast that it can become really difficult for us to form an understanding of our place in history. It creates an overwhelming sense of uncertainty and anxiety, and so we let the future just happen to us. We don't connect with that future us. We treat our future selves as a stranger and the future as a foreign land. But it's not a foreign land, it's unfolding right in front of us, continually being shaped by our actions today. We are that future. And so I believe fighting for a future we want is more urgent and necessary than ever before. But what about what we can't avoid? Today, especially with climate change, it looks like we are heading for trouble. And so what we want to do now is to prepare for that future by developing tools and attitudes that can help us find hope. Hope that can inspire action. We have the opportunity to imagine new possibilities. We can find optimistic futures, we can find paths forward, we can move beyond hope into action. It means we have the chance to change direction, a chance to have our voices heard, a chance to write ourselves into a future we want.